Yo, what's poppin', Bagel Bros, and welcome back to another Patreon rant. If you want one of these for yourself, be sure to give me $10 a month on Patreon. This one comes from Jerichode, who says, as I do with every space I find myself in on the internet, I will now unprompted mention Hollow Knight. Rant about Hollow Knight, my goat. So, I warned this person in advance, I have not actually played Hollow Knight. That's a lie. I played like a couple hours of it when I was 15 on a pirated copy because I was a cheapskate. But other than that, I don't really remember much about the game. And I've been fairly removed from all the Silksong hype or whatever. But I actually am going to focus mostly on that. Because, it seems like a good game. I like the art style. I think it would be fun to play, probably. But I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm not much of a gamer. Silksong especially seems like something I will probably never play just because I am terrible at video games. Inhumanly unskilled at them. Impossibly bad. And from what I've heard, the difficulty in that game is, it twists your nutsack, basically. But what I wanted to focus on is the main way that I have interacted with Hollow Knight is, strangely enough, through YouTube, specifically the YouTube channel Daily Silksong News. I only really got into their stuff in the sort of year before Silksong was coming out, but that channel has so much charm and passion behind it, and I'm very glad that Aura decided to stop it after Silksong came out. I know a lot of people wanted it to continue and people have carried on the torch, but I feel like it was the perfect time to stop. It's so full of passion. So if you don't know, Daily Silksong News is this news show where Aura, the host, basically says, hey, here's the news that has happened today regarding Silksong. And the joke is, there's never any news. I think the first multiple hundred days of the show had zero news. And in order to keep things kind of interesting as they can be, considering there's never any news, they would get different YouTubers on. I know Mossbag was on one of them. I think Dolan Dark was on one of them. I feel like he was. That was very late on, though. Yeah, I'm definitely right about that. So they would get all these YouTubers on, and eventually, I don't know the exact way this started, because I obviously haven't looked through every single Daily Silksong News episode, but eventually, Aura had some of his friends, presumably on Discord, start doing regular bits. There's this one person with a, oh god, how am I forgetting? It's the Gen 5 flower girl, Lilligant. This guy with a Lilligant profile picture, this Lillian avatar, would do these multiple hour-long live streams of just various inane stuff. The final one I remember was a 9 or 10 hour recording of them putting every single episode of Daily Silksong News in a tier list, which is a hilarious bit. And they're just great at going on. And I haven't seen hardly any of these videos because I don't have the time for that stuff, but it's just very funny. Just in concept. Eventually, they got this person who knew how to do, basic stop motion and puppeteering. They'd had, these little handmade puppets that were adorable. There was one where Aura's avatar was covering the Silksong situation, and it was something to do with the subreddit. I forget exactly what the drama was, come to think of it, but it was covering some brief drama in a sort of moist critical parody, which I thought was very amusing. I love because up to this point there'd been little bits and pieces of news, but when the release date was announced, which is still their biggest video, Aura, they had this pre-made stop motion thing where the news alarm went off. And then everyone is freaking out. All the characters within canon are freaking out. Oh my god, there's news. We weren't prepped for this. Or storms in and starts screaming out, this is your Daily Silksong News, and there has been yes news! Yes news! Yes news! It's incredible. I love it. There's slopes! That's why it took so long! They made slopes! It's such a quotable video. But yeah, eventually they did the final Daily Silk Song news. It's like this 10-minute skit, some of which I'm clearly missing the context on. Like at one point they had this little RPG Maker game that I'm sure there's like a deeper reason as to why that was there. I'm under the impression that it was the creation of some person in the friend group that eventually formed around this. But it was very charming. I watched the entire thing, and despite having no intentions of ever playing Silksong, I still love Daily Silksong News as a project. And that is the most I can say about Hollow Knight. That's about it. See ya.